Me and Alex, say my name, Alex. Bring the flame, my neighbors. Love and change, we'll be talking. Make it play, and Alex, keep it real.
Diddy may have made it through one major courtroom battle, but the legal drama around him is far from over. Because now another case is moving forward, and this one centers around one of the most shocking accusations connected to the entire Diddy situation. We're talking about Brianna Bongolan, a friend of Cassie Ventura, who claims that Diddy once dangled her over a 17th floor balcony at Cassie's Los Angeles apartment. Now, before we go any further, these are allegations. Diddy has denied wrongdoing, and his legal team has challenged her story. But this accusation has already been brought up in court, and it could now become the center of another major trial. According to the testimony from Diddy's federal case, Bongolan claims that back in 2016, she was at Cassie's apartment when Diddy allegedly came in angry, lifted her over the balcony railing, and held her there for several seconds before pulling her back and throwing her onto the balcony furniture. She testified that the incident left her scarred, injured, and traumatized. Reports from the federal trial said jurors were shown photos connected to her alleged injuries, including bruising and a neck brace. But here's where this gets complicated. Diddy's defense team pushed back hard, his lawyers questioning her credibility and challenged the timeline of the alleged incident. Reuters reported that the defense pointed to Diddy possibly being on the East Coast around the time Bongolan says this happened, including a performance in New Jersey and the event in New York. So now the whole thing becomes a battle over credibility, timelines, memory, and evidence. And that's what makes this upcoming civil case important. This is not just about one headline. This is about whether another accuser can convince a court that her version of events is true, and whether Diddy's legal team can create enough doubt around her claims. During the federal trial, Bongolan's testimony was dramatic. She said she was afraid she could fall. She also claimed this incident caused lasting trauma, but the defense argued there were inconsistencies between her testimony and her civil lawsuit. Courthouse News reported that Diddy's attorneys questioned differences between her trial testimony and her earlier claims. And this is exactly why Diddy's team seems ready to fight this case all the way. They are not just saying, "We disagree," they're saying the story has problems. They're saying the timeline does not line up. They are saying the evidence should be looked at closely, and in the civil trial, that can become the whole strategy. But on the other side, Bongolan's case has emotional weight because it connects back to Cassie, her apartment, and the broader picture that was painted during the federal case. Cassie also testified about abuse during her relationship with Diddy, and Bongolan's testimony was used as part of the larger narrative. So the question now is simple. Is this going to become another major legal blow for Diddy? Or is this the case where his defense team says, hold on, the timeline does not add up? Because remember, civil court is different from criminal court. In the criminal case, prosecutors have to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. But in the civil case, the standard is lower. The question is usually whether something is more likely than not. That means even if Diddy's team can avoid criminal consequences in one setting, that does not automatically mean he is safe in the civil court. And this is why these lawsuits matter. A civil trial can still damage someone's reputation. It can still lead to financial consequences, and most importantly, it keeps the accusations in the public eye. For Diddy, this is another reminder that his legal problems are not finished. Even when one case ends, another one can be waiting. So I'm not surprised that Diddy's being, sued for civil damages and stuff. Diddy's path of terror, spanned decades. You know what I mean? And so there's going to be people coming up making allegations, trying to get money from him. And I guess it's rightfully so. You know, this is karmic. You know what I mean? Your karma can't put out a certain energy and not expect that same energy to come back, you know? So he's going to be fighting stuff for a while, you know what I mean? But I think he got enough money and enough power, not power, enough money and enough, you know, lawyers to protect him from, you know, just any old claim. Because, you know, this girl could just be trying to get a, you know, cash grab, especially where her stories is not adding up, you know, and there's proof that he might have been in different locations at the time she's saying that this happened. Then that's an open and shut situation. So we shall see, you know what I mean? I don't think we heard the end of this stuff with Diddy. I think people are going to still try to pop up, you know, and make allegations, but I think he's almost out of the storm. And, you know, we just got to wait and see what happens next. But, you know, he's doing time. He's doing some jail time. At least that's better than nothing. You know what I mean? If I was Diddy, I would just take this as a moment of clarity and a moment of I need to, you know, stop and process things within. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even come out in the public eye after this. Just be low key and retire. You know what I mean? Let your kids turn up. Let your kids do, you know, what they can to fix the legacy. You know what I mean? Because we definitely, I don't know. But in this day and age, people ain't all the way canceled. Because you got people like Kanye and stuff doing some of the things that he said and done. And they accept him. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. This is food for thought. Y'all do the dishes. Please like, share, and subscribe to I Am Eating Alex on YouTube. And leave your comments or suggestions on things that you want to hear me talk about.